Assassin's Creed Revelations is one of the greatest games ever made. And you probably already know that. I don't need to sell you on this. Here's the rules we made for the run: no health upgrades, no renovations, no hiring factions, no fast travel, no reducing notoriety, no blending, no weapons, no tools, no fists, no healing, and no killing. Stealth takedowns can only be used on required targets or if detection is a fail condition. Everybody else must be taken out in open conflict. A rule will not count as broken if the action is required to progress the game. Our story begins a few years after Ezio's showdown with Patrick Nielsen. Turns out after the fight, they became good friends and Ezio made millions on Feet Finder. On the way to his retirement photo shoot, we find they put a few goons in the way just for old time's sake. Kind of annoying that the first thug they threw at me was an agile who dodged every kick, but I beat him and ran up the stairs, and that's where I started to notice that the kick in this game has been severely nerfed since Brotherhood, and the dodge-kick combo doesn't work against agiles anymore. So as of now, it looks like the only way to beat them is the grab attack. So I finished beating them all up, and then I fell off the wall. And now I have to fight them again. This went on for quite some time, until even the NPCs got sick of it. They just stopped and stared at me like, dude, that's enough, you can go. I thought I could irritate them enough to fight me again, but they didn't want to, so I just moved on. They didn't stop for me this time, so I had to concuss them all again. We beat up a couple goons on the way to Ezio's dressing room, where we have to fight 4 more guys, and every enemy we've seen so far has been agile, as are about 90% of them through the rest of the game, and I was not looking forward to playing this whole thing with grab attacks. And suddenly it hit me, something that never actually occurred to me through my whole Brotherhood playthrough either. Pocket Sand. This is huge for me right now, and it's going to speed things up a lot, but I'll soon learn there are some pretty big drawbacks to it. Anyways, Ezio tips the men's room attendant, and we're finally off to the photo shoot. The guys in the courtyard killed me, and I just couldn't be bothered anymore, so I got past them with the slickest stealth moves you'll ever see in an Assassin's Creed game. Ezio finally makes it to the photo shoot and has the time of his life, but it ran a little long and he really had to hurry to catch his flight. We had to lay over, and Officer Methmouth tells us that we need to go to a different airport, so we take the escalator up, and now we have to get all the way across town. This is the moment that I learned that a guard stunned by pocket sand can just be continuously kicked until they are defeated. Sounds pretty overpowered, doesn't it? Well, here's the drawback. To keep going, you have to hit the button before you finish your current kick. This gets you stuck in a kicking loop, which makes it really hard to block or counter any other incoming attacks. And when I do get hit, I get all confused and forget what I'm doing, and then they kill me. After another half an hour of throwing dirt and kicking crotches, we finally make it to the airport, and Ezio asks if he can exchange his plane ticket for a boat ride. Officer Methmouth says, no problem, as long as we can beat him in a fight. This is technically supposed to be a boss fight, but after all those agiles, it's just a breeze. It was like being back in Rome, in that I can only kick him 4 times in a row before he falls and have to wait for him to get back up. When I finally score the knockout, he tells us it was a jolly good row, and to show the conductor this paperwork and we'll get on the boat, no problem. So with that, we board our luxury cruise, and we're off to Ezio's retirement property in beautiful Istantinopol. When the cruise came to an end and we docked, Ezio asked this guy if he was Bruno Mars. He said he's actually Constantinople's #1 Bruno Mars tribute artist, Phil Uranus. Ezio tells him that's really awesome and he'd love to catch a show sometime, but this drunk redhead has been eyeing him up and he's got to get going. Not even 10 steps off the dock and we're blindsided by our new best friend, who also happens to be our new property manager. He says the bong Ezio ordered showed up just in time, and all the boys are back at the house waiting for the opening ceremonies. We hit a quick bowl, but everyone had shit to do, so we went outside to look at clouds. And bro goes, oh, by the way, Ezio, here's a new fucking Rolex. How can you not love this guy? He says there's a party going on down the street, because of course there is, and on the way we excitedly beat the crap out of a couple of old ladies. This party was the only mandatory den defense. A hot take? I love the den defense missions. Problem here is I can't move and I have to order other NPCs to kill the enemies. I tried to just wait and let them win, which will work if I have to do another defense, but the enemies in this one won't spawn until you place the units. So I just didn't do any of the shooting myself, and I take no responsibility for the actions of the assassins. I did everything I could to stop them. Next, we get to take over a Byzantine outpost. And this was also supposed to be a no eagle vision run, but this game forces you to do it so many times, and even though I did only use it in those cases, I still couldn't justify making it a rule. I tried taking out the roof guards discreetly, but that wasn't a realistic goal, so I just started throwing kicks until everyone got scared and ran off. Later on, we were chilling with Buddy again, and we tell him it's been a great couple of days, but we got some things to take care of. He says that's cool. By the way, one of our boys just called, says he needs us to bail him out. We decided to just bust him out by stealing the key, and this one should be really easy. I know exactly where the guy is, and I know how to get there quietly. But the objective doesn't say anything about taking this guy out, so it has to be in open conflict, which just draws in all his buddies every time. And I'll point out that I know I can just rob him. I know I don't have to beat him up. I want to. It took a few tries, but I was eventually on my way back to the dock to bust my boy out of jail. He invites Ezio back to his place for a session, and he's got some pretty good shit too, so we decide to go for a walk. There's some goons up ahead in need of a lesson, so I quietly and efficiently dispatch them and have to solve a murder real quick before we get in another fight. And I'm not gonna lie, I am more than happy with this other guy killing them. It takes 18 kicks to down a Byzantine Agile from full health, and the only way to hit them is either pocket sand stun lock, or if you disarm them, you get to land one single kick. Right, so as long as I keep throwing kicks, I'm not breaking any rules, and he can have them, which ends that fight in record time, and we head back home, where Buddy says he's going to teach us how to make a bong. We have a real fun afternoon together, but we're out of weed, so Ezio has to go see the guy. On the way home, we pass a neat place called Madame Buttstuff's Adult Boutique, and it reminds Ezio of a specific set of DVDs he's been looking for, so we decide to go in and ask. And in a strange twist of fate, Madame Buttstuff is the creepy drunk redhead from the boat. We ask about the DVD set. She says she's got part 1 down in the basement somewhere, so if we want to go down there and clean up a bit, we might find it. Usually, I love this mission. When you can use silent attacks, it's really easy because there's a quiet path to each captain where you would just assassinate them. This time around, I will have no choice but to fight every single guy down here in all 3 sections. Getting the hook blade unlocks the counter steal, which will end up being my go-to for defense. It also comes with a secret, unreliable combat takedown, which I'm pretty sure is actually a bug rather than a game mechanic. And since this game is so much harder than Brotherhood, I'm going to allow that takedown in this run. The second section nearly broke me. I got so mad, and even when I figured out the way to the captain without being seen, I can't take him out quietly. Eventually, I took him out while only triggering a couple of the guys, so I fought them off and I got the hell out of there. And in the third area, I finally let go of any delusions I had that I would get through there quietly. I resigned myself to just jumping in and fighting everybody, and I was so numb to it all by now that when I landed the final kick, there was no pause for celebration. I just bolted for the door. This shit took almost 2 hours. So I was pretty happy to finally receive my prize. We ran back upstairs to announce the basement's clean and we found the DVD, but all she's got are smart-ass comments.
Salve, Ezio. That took some time.
Ezio says he didn't see her down there helping, and now he's going home to watch his movie. But then she just had to make it awkward.
Can I borrow them when you are finished?
We rush home to show off our new trophy, but our buddy here points out that we don't have a DVD player. He says don't worry though, he'll go pick one up, and in the meantime, we should go check out the gathering of the Juggalos happening down the block. What a solid dude. We get to the gathering, and immediately this lady starts bitching about the price of Faygo at the concession stands, and Ezio decides he can't take these nut jobs anymore and bails. This mission sucks. Okay, it's actually one of the best of all of Ezio's missions, but there's no way through it without breaking the rules. The objective requires following the guards who stole the money and then killing them in specific locations. The main issue is that they're scripted to look in my direction, so no matter where I am, I can't just sneak up on the guy. And I tried everything I could. I even used a smoke bomb and got a stealth takedown. And that's when I realized that I wasn't paying attention, and I didn't even know that I have to use the poison. It's desynchronization, if not. Would have been nice to know that about half an hour ago, but okay. I'll use the poison darts and I'll kill these three men. We're rolling with juggalos right now anyway, so we'll just blame them and get back home to see if the DVD player's hooked up yet. Not only is the DVD player ready to go, bro even lit a few candles and left some Playboys out to set the mood. It's now time to watch the Sacred DVD, a rare gem featuring the greatest of the classic era adult film stars, Altair Dippin' La Ass. This first outing as Altair starts off easy. I just have to run up the hill to the castle, but then I have some trouble. I must have tried a dozen times to get across the courtyard. There's no way to knock this guy out without being detected, and I cannot get behind him. I thought, this is Assassin's Creed. There has to be a way along the walls or something. I spent so much time studying the left side of the castle that it never once occurred to me to try the right side. I accidentally found that path along the right wall, and it's almost like the game rolling out a red carpet. Here you go, bud. Boss just up there. Altair comes up from behind this guy and finishes him off fast, and the movie ends. And after a short nap, Ezio gets a call from his buddy who says a couple more of our boys got arrested and we have to go bail them out. We did that with no problem, then we set off to meet our friend who says Phil Uranus is throwing a party and he wants us to come play some music for the people. Ezio says that's great, but his guitar broke and he's not paying for any new gear, so they hatch a plan to obtain some without buying it. We just gotta beat up and rob these innocent musicians. We walk around and play a few songs, but we must not be very good because every time I look up from the frets, someone else has left the audience. Phil says we could follow him around and play our songs, but it turns into chaos when a crazed fan tries to rush him. I tried everything I could, but this event is scripted and there's no way to get by without killing this guy. Phil says not to worry about it though. He's got some guys coming by to clean this up and that we should come back tomorrow. The smart thing to do would be to leave, but Ezio seemed to think it was better to just hang out behind the dumpster for a couple of days. When he decides to move again, we go talk to Phil, who says his cousin has been banging the police chief, and we can get a front row seat by looking through that window over there. We got all the way over there, but these guys are both old and fat, and Ezio wasn't really into it. He couldn't help but think of the Altair DVDs and thought now was a good time to go track down part 2, so we went to meet up with Madame Buttstuff when we encounter a familiar face.
Oh! Oh! Il diavolo in persona! Stay back!
Ducky didn't want to dance today. We all laugh as he waddles away, and then she says part 2 has been found. It's in a warehouse, and the map to it is on that boat. My stealth on this ship looked a lot like a Three Stooges routine, and even though it was working just fine, I got pretty tired of it, so I just beat him off and took up running. Rather than just admit he can't read, Ezio takes the map to the video store and flirts with Madame Buttstuff for a while until she tells him where the DVD is. This tomb has no enemies, so it's pretty easy and also irrelevant, but it's a good action scene. At the end, I grab the DVD and head home, but there's some nutjob in the street shouting at everyone, so we gotta teach him how it feels when other people don't mind their own business. I ask the gawkers if they want some, and then we can finally go home and watch our movie. This movie kinda sucks. The first half is just Altair and this sleepy old man, but it picks up in the second half where I have to just disarm a bunch of guys, then race up the tower before this guy finishes, and that's the end of part 2. I run to the mall to see if anyone has a copy of part 3, and this guy says the police chief might know where to find one, so we go after him. This is a really easy tailing mission, but it's also where the Janissaries start showing up full time, so we gotta be quiet. We catch up to him, but he has no information, and that was all for nothing, so I take a little me time before moving on. Down the block, we catch up with our boy, and he points across the road to where the Greek bootleg DVD trader, Manoli Babounas, is bribing a bunch of cops. Other than a little corruption, they're doing a fine job, though. They let this guy know that we have rules for a reason, and if you're going to keep yapping, then you're going to take a nap. Ezio bets $20 that he can turn this crowd violent. Bro says you're on, and Ezio starts spreading word that he'll do a free crush video for anyone who helps break down this gate. And it's a full-blown riot in a matter of seconds. When we get inside the gate, we decide to see if Manoli Babounas has anything worth stealing at his house, but there was nothing good, so we just ran back to the video store to see if that crazy lady found part 3 yet. We find her drinking in the park, and she gives us the location of the next disc. This tomb is probably my favorite of all of them. This is the one where you get to have a foot race with a boat, and it's also irrelevant, so we grab the DVD and run back home to watch it. This one shouldn't be as hard as I made it. When you run up this hill, two more enemies spawn and one kept killing my guy. When they spawn, the camera messes with you, and it took me a few tries to figure out where the second guy was even coming from. Well, once I did, all I had to do was run past the trigger and then get back in time to knock him down. And that minuscule little contact was enough to scare him off from the rest of the fight, and we were quickly on our way. And as we go, they just keep throwing more guys at us, and it's like that other mission. As long as I continue throwing kicks and being part of the fight, I'm not breaking any rules, and Darim can kill as many of these assholes as he wants. And just like that, it's over. Which is a good thing, because Ezio was worried they were going to go all Mr. Hands on those horses. We run up on Phil, and he seems a little distressed. Ezio asks what's the deal, and he says he's pissed about the police chief taking that bribe. He says he's bribed the chief way more and can't even get decent security at his parties. Ezio offers to go kick his ass, and they both agree that's a good idea. On the way to the police station, Ezio thought it would be fun to knock this guy out and take his shoes. I asked these cops if I could come to the station with them, and they said sure, and if you want to beat up some homeless people on the way, go for it. Don't have to tell me twice. This is probably the most divisive mission in the game. A lot of people really hate the Janissaries, and those people probably really hate this mission. I love it though. I've spent a lot of time here and I know exactly what to do. It took me a few minutes to figure out the timing because I'm used to being able to blend with the groups, but I got over the wall and made my way straight to the courtyard. Fun fact, there's a treasure chest on this roof. I don't think it's supposed to be here, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't here in the original release. I run over to my assassin perch directly above the police chief, and that's when I realize he's not here yet. I forgot I have to find his tent first. So I went back to the start, and I thought I could find a way through here undetected, but then I pressed the wrong button, so screw it, I'm going over the wall. Once these guys are done squawking, I'm finally clear to go get him. I get back to my perch and I hit him with a tackle. We got up, he said let's go, his boys made the circle, and it was time for a Donnybrook. What a great fight too. They tried some cheap shit by jumping in, but the counter steel takedown came in clutch here. I just kept landing kicks until he stopped moving. He said that's the best fight he's had in years, and to tell Phil, his security will be tripled from now on. Ezio walked out thinking, what a beautiful city. Everyone he's beat up here so far has been just so nice. You know, we should send Officer Methmouth a birthday card this year. We stopped by Phil's place to give him the good news, and then we're going back to the video store to see if that next DVD has come in yet. No such luck though, and Ezio starts whining about being bored, so she tells him to go weed the lawn or something. When we finish with the yard work, we head back to the video store, but on the way, we stumble upon the madam in the middle of the park again, just hammered. We ask about the DVD, and she mumbled incoherently, but we figure out it's being held at the sorting facility outside of town, and we can go pick it up anytime. After all that work, Ezio can finally go home and light the candles. It's time for part 4. Altair is really old in this one, which Ezio is oddly into, but other than that, there's not much going on until Altair blasts this other old guy in the chest. And since this is just a movie, I don't have to count that one as a kill. When he finishes, Ezio takes a moment to admire his DVD collection before heading off to get a good night's sleep. The next morning, we're just going for a run off the roof when our top dog shows up to say he's booked us on a cruise, and here's a bag of the good stuff to take with us. We hurry down to the dock, but our departure was delayed due to some debris on the runway. We're told it should be cleared any minute and to head to our ship. And what luck! The captain is the weed guy from the mall! Our cruise has to dock at some little hole-in-the-wall town, but we hear a rumor that Manoli Babunas is here looking for slot machines and harassing villagers. We find him chatting with local celebrity real estate agent Shaka Khan, and figure out that Manoli isn't here to go spinning for his rent money. He's trying to build a casino. Ezio says, no way man, that guy's a dink, let's go fuck his shit up. First things first, we gotta beat up a bunch of cops for no reason. Next we gotta go to a completely different part of the town and steal a key. It looks like Manoli is using slave labor to build the casino, so we're gonna let him out. But when we open the door, only Christina Pazitsky is in there. She muttered something about those pricks never waking her up for lunch, and ran off to find a souvlaki truck. When we got back, Shaka Khan was publicly shaming the construction crew on stage, so Ezio is going to put an end to that, and I finally get some gameplay. I love this mission too. You gotta take out the 4 guys along here first, and this is my first time doing this unarmed, and it wasn't easy. The takedowns are loud and sloppy, and sometimes the guards are looking at each other, so I have to time my movements very carefully. I actually made it to him on the first try, but he's not as chill as the police chief, and he won't stand and fight. Took a few tries to get there again, and I thought I would try to sneak up on him, but he's got 3 bodyguards who are watching all directions, so that's not an option either. After a few more tries, I've pretty much nailed the timing on the way there and can not only do it easily, but I can make it look good too. I'll probably have no choice but to use the hidden blade, but when I get there, I'll check one more time for an unarmed air takedown, which, of course, there isn't one in this game. So here we go. And Shaka Khan says, "No way, bud!" And now it seems that we went through all of that just for him to stand up and fight me anyway. At least there was a checkpoint, but this fight went on forever. They killed me 5 times before I was able to take out all his goons and just focus on the main course. I was having trouble figuring out how to damage him. He's basically a reskinned Janissary without a gun, so he dodges every kick, and I can't grab him. I was starting to worry I might have to use my fists, but then I noticed that some of the kicks were landing. About 1 of every 4 were landing after a pocket sand stun, and I thought, please no, there has to be a better way. So I tried to hide from him, that way I could sneak up and get a takedown. But alas, no matter how far I go, he won't forget about me. So I guess it's inconsistent kicking until the bitter end. I literally kicked his ass around the entire room, and that triggered even more guards to come in. I dispatched them and I turned back to Shaka Khan, and this is becoming rather infuriating. But his health bar is so low that any one of these kicks could be the last. Anytime now, bud. There we go. Alright. I don't even remember this fight being this hard. I guess something worse must have happened later. I can't wait to find out what that was. The workers tell us that a shipment of slot machines came in today and Ezio decides to go blow them up. Sounds like a perfect stealth mission. Get in, set the charge, get out, nice and clean, never seen. That's not how this is gonna go. The only way in is to climb the central shaft of the cave, and then cross all the way to the far end, and then go in through this hole in the wall, which only opens when you start this memory. There's absolutely no stealth option for me here. There are 4 guys just inside the entrance, and there's no way past them. Even if I could get up the wall over here, it's too far away to beat the detection meter. These guys were hard. 2 big guys and 2 agiles. I got through them and I thought, okay, that wasn't that bad. How much worse can it get? I looked around the next corner and it got worse. After quite some time, I did finally find a rhythm. I mean, look at this, bro. This is perfection right here. And this is around the time when I figured I should just clear the whole place before bothering with the objective. I was kicking a lot of ass, and I got so close. So when I respawned, I thought I'll run to the end and fight them all at the same time. And this whole thing was just brutal. The counter-steal takedown was, again, the hero here. However, this place is a damn maze. And once I finally was able to clear the ending area, I had no idea where to go. I could not find the door, and while searching for it, I noticed that I hadn't quite gotten everyone. I had to be real careful, but I made it this far, and I intended to finish it on this turn. And so after about 2 hours of kicking and stealing, and then literally 20 minutes of just looking for the fucking door, I finally planted the charge and blew up the slot machines. This destruction would virtually guarantee that Manoli can't build his casino, and he's really mad about that, but his fat ass can't run, so Ezio decides to chase him down to laugh in his face, and maybe give him a whooping. We get up close, and Manoli mutters some gibberish and starts crying about his land deal. Ezio says Gamoto Achillesu and proceeds to land 18 solid kicks to his groin. Once he caught his breath, they had a friendly chat, and Ezio turned the conversation to the Altair DVDs. Manoli told us of a rare Part 5, and after what we just did to his manhood, he's clearly not going to need it anymore. Ezio tells him, "Holy shit, that's awesome, thank you." All in all, it was a pretty successful vacation. Not only did Ezio get this wonderful surprise gift, he was also able to completely destroy a man's livelihood and an entire city. Now he should be able to just go home to the DVD player. But unfortunately, Phil's brother-in-law heard we had the full set now, and he wants it for himself. He said to meet him back in Constantinople and give him the discs, and Ezio says that prick ain't getting nothing but a size 13 enema. And off we go. Back in town, we gotta stop off at the video store first, And this is where we find the most painfully heartbreaking sight. Our best friend in the entire world was slumped over, dead. They even pinned a note to him, but Ezio quickly ditched it before anyone could ask him to read it. And what a way to go. Murdered in the back of a porn store. Rest in peace, our truest friend. Let's get an F in the comments for, Shit, I never got his name. We go have a chat with Phil, and he says his aunt is working with Madame Buttstuff to track down another set of DVDs, and they'd like our help. Ezio says as long as he's trying to get his own copies and stops killing people, then yeah, sure, we can help. Ezio thought he saw his friends at the top of the tower, but it was just these two other people. He pulls them apart, and she yells at him for making them stop, as she was almost finished. He makes a quick exit to avoid embarrassing himself any further. We run to save the girl, but when he cuts her down, she also gets mad at him for not letting her finish. He says he didn't know she was into that kind of stuff and that there's a motel just outside of town if she wants to go party. We take off in the carriage out of town, but Ezio forgot to keep his arms and legs inside the cabin and is suddenly in danger. Fortunately, he was saved when he remembered he had some of my ex-wife's underwear in his pocket. This is almost as much fun as the Da Vinci flying machine sequences from the other games, but until now, I never realized that I don't actually have to do anything. I don't even really have to avoid the obstacles. I pretty much just wait, like go cook some noodles or something. This area is linear and has checkpoints. She dies a few times, I die a few times, it doesn't matter. We keep moving forward toward the final encounter. The final encounter is this minute-long free-fall boss fight, and we just happen to land right at the feet of Phil's dad, who calls Ezio a pussy and then shoves this dude off the cliff. Ezio says, whatever, he's gonna go wreck this freaky redhead. So, with all that said and done, the answer is no. You can't beat Assassin's Creed Revelations without killing anybody. The game forced Ezio to personally kill 4 people, and Altair killed 1. And if you count the flamethrower and the den defense, the total would be somewhere closer to 60. Anyways, if you had fun here, make sure to leave a like and a comment, subscribe so you don't miss Ezio's inevitable return, and most importantly, stay crunchy. Goodbye!